I'm David Hepworth. Thanks for clicking this Word in Your Ear podcast, videocast thing for which there is no name. Mark Ellen and I have been creating in this line since 2007. And if any of it has met with your approval, then please click to subscribe because it helps. Leave a comment because we like to hear from you, and maybe even consider becoming a Patreon supporter because then, well, you'll be one of us. Visit patreon.com/wordinyourear for details.
This is Word Down Your Way, in which those about to tour salute you.
Welcome to another of our podcasts about touring, where light research reveals that apart from B.B. King, I don't think anybody has played more than 5,000 gigs in their lifetime. And yet, this man sailed past that piffling milestone 3 years ago, which I make an average of about 2 gigs a week for 53 years, since 1972. John Otway, lovely to see you.
Nice. It's great to be doing this.
John, how is that possible? It is true. You have played what? I mean, how many? Are you keeping a tally? You must be.
Oh, yes, keeping a tally. But the last time I checked the spreadsheet, it was 5,200 and 5,260, something like that. So I do think that I will actually get to 6,000 gigs.
When do you think you'll arrive there?
Pardon? Well, I did it. It sort of coincided with pretty much my 70th birthday. So on sort of like 100 gigs a year. You know, when I get to 80, I should be around about 6,000.
It's fantastic. Right. I mean, how is that? So you're not slowing down, are you?
No. Remember, I did take a couple of months off at the last couple of months off to take a break. So I'm not going to retire, but I thought, what would it be like to stop working? So I stopped working for 3 months and got an Interrail pass and did Europe and and did a tour. And last week started back gigging again. I did 3 shows with Wild Willie Barrett over the weekend in Bristol, Topsham and Penzance.
So I want to know about this. So you did a trial retirement, did you? You took 3 months. You got a rail card and you just footled around Europe.
Yes, it's basically I'm never going to retire. Really.
No,
I mean I've always described it as if you knew a bloke that really enjoyed going down the pub, you're not going to sort of say to him, look, when are you going to retire from going down the pub? I mean, they're obviously going to keep doing it as long as they possibly can. And I mean, that applies to me. I mean, think about it. Like 2 or 3 times a week, I go out and people buy me drinks and tell me what a good bloke I am. Why would you stop doing that?
Why would you stop? Precisely.
I want to know about this. It interests me because if you talk to Ronnie Wood, I talked to Ronnie Wood years ago, and it says when he's not touring, at 9 o'clock at night, his body thinks he should be doing something. You know, he's kind of, his whole life is expecting to be on stage in the evening. Are you a bit like that?
Oh yeah, definitely, yeah. The adrenaline comes up, and you're in gig mode, and you have to sort of down a few pints to remind yourself you're not.
So when you were on the train trip, you must have got that said. So did you feel incredibly uncomfortable in the evenings, thinking I should be on stage, and you know?
Not too much, because if you do what I do for a living, you know that 90%, or or not 90%, but the largest percentage of your work is travelling, and the long train trips were a bit like touring without without doing the
not going anywhere in particular.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I'm trying to calculate the amount of time you must have spent behind the wheel of a stuttering van, lurching from show to show.
Yeah, I am. I avoid travelling now in vans as much as I possibly can. So I do travel. I do most of the time go on the bus or the train if I can.
Right. So what was it? What was the first gig you ever saw? Can you remember?
Yes, The Move. My
Oh,
sister
wow.
went to see The Move in the Borough Assembly Hall in Aylesbury. And that's like Flowers in the Rain, that period of time.
Oh, wow. So what was the lineup of The Move when you went to see them?
I think it was the original lineup. I think it.
So Carl Wayne and Roy Wood and Ace Kefford and all those. Oh, brilliant. Well, that's a pretty good first gig.
That's a very strong start, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, no.
How old were you? Can you remember?
I would have been about 15, something like that.
Right.
Incredible. And did that affect? Did you go out the next day and buy more interesting shirts and on the strength of it?
I've never really been sort of like a fashion person, so I didn't pay much attention. But I it was something that I'd wanted to do since the age of 9. You know, I wanted to be a sort of like a rock star, and that was my introduction to it. But more influential was a guy called Dave Stopps in Aylesbury, started a club called Friars. And that was an amazing club. Originally, was sort of, he used to get really, really good acts quite cheap because he booked them on a Monday. So the club was actually on a Monday. So you'd get a touring act and they'd try and fill in the Mondays. And so lots of people like Free, Mott the Hoople, the whole range of progressive bands as as they were called there. And that was very influential to.
What do you remember of Free? I'd love to have seen Free.
What I remember most was the bass player moved in a most extraordinary way. He sort of swayed in a sort of very odd fashion, and I remember thinking that's a bit odd. That's my striking memory of them.
And he was only about 15, wasn't he? Something as Andy Fraser.
He was very young,
ridiculously young.
Yeah.
He wrote All Right Now when he was 17, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you pretty much turned up. You were a resident at Friars, were you? Whoever was there, you were there.
Yes, pretty much. And then obviously, one of my goals was to actually get gigs at Friars, which I actually did. And the club went on for years. It's still going in some forms, and I played it more often than anybody else has.
So were you a well-known member of the audience? Were you one of those people that people noticed?
Eventually, but I was always one of those people noticed. And
why?
I don't know. I think it's because I'm slightly uncoordinated, I think. And I realised that because I realised the more people knew my name than knew other people's names. Do you know what I mean? With my contemporaries.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I was always laughed at, which I found was a great advantage as I progressed my career.
Do you belong to that kind of fraternity that we used to know as idiot dancers?
Oh, yes. Sadly.
See, I feel this is forgotten. This is forgotten by people, isn't it, really? This was a fact of life, wasn't it, in the 70s? When you went to gigs anywhere, were there any idiot dancers? Well, yes.
Well, the most famous idiot dancer was a guy called Jesus.
Yeah.
Do you remember Jesus, John?
Oh, yeah. That rings.
He had a kind of strange kind of mullet type long hair at the back. Always half naked, and would go up to the front and just wig around, didn't he, Dave? On his own with a kind of
it's very strange. I don't really want to be reminded of it too much, but I used to place yourself in front of the bass speakers. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The greatest chance of going deaf. It's extraordinary. People made their own entertainment. They decided to be the local idiot dancer, and then everybody else just looks at them. You didn't need a light show. It was just there was always somebody who
became local stars, didn't you? I'm just interested about what you said earlier about wanting to be a pop star from the age of 9. What happened at the age of 9 that brought that about?
It all started. I started listening to Alan Freeman's Pick of the Pops, at a young age. And I think it's changed. There are people like me who from a very, very early age know what they want to do and know what they're going to, what they want to achieve in life. And I was just one of those. It was just like, no, that's what I want to do. That's what I'm going to do. And I just instinctively knew that. And although it's an oversubscribed profession, if that's the only thing you want to do and the only thing you're going to work at, you can often achieve it even if you haven't got much talent.
So it was more the being on stage than the writing the songs that was the appealing thing.
Yes, I stage struck sort of at an early age. I remember sort of singing and waving my arms around in the school playground at the age of 9 and really admiring the attention, even though everybody was just laughing at me.
So your first gigs, were they straight and then you found you were getting laughs and went in that direction? Or did you originally start out trying to do something comic, as it were?
Yeah, I mean, the first time I cracked an audience, I remember I did this the Peter Sarstedt song, "Where'd You Go to My Lover?" And I just thought, I'm going to make this as emotional as possible and as dramatic as possible. And I started it when people, you know, the audience were literally falling off their chairs in hysterics.
So it's just a spoof, you know, it spoofed the original song.
Well, no, I just sang the original song, but just made it dramatic, and people found it what I was doing hysterically funny.
Right.
You just turned up the emotional volume. You weren't actually sending it up, really, were you? It was kind of more. It was quite affectionate, but it was just over the top.
Yeah, we just over the top. And I mean, there are people that just you know, like me, that do make people laugh without actually really trying hard to do it. I don't know what it is, but I think it's something to do with a bit of lack of coordination and looking a bit odd.
Which you obviously played up, the kind of gangling, you know, beta male, uncoordinated thing.
Yes, definitely beta male. Yes, but there is that sort of wonderful sort of sense of people not knowing whether they should be laughing or not laughing, and you can play with that emotion very dramatically and beautifully, and manipulate the audience quite nice, you know, in quite a good, fun, dramatic way, really, if you know what I mean.
So how often do you get up in front of a crowd who have no idea who you are and what to expect?
Not that often. I mean, right. You actually, you know, if you think about it, if you've done 5,000 gigs, yes. Average of 100 people, that, you know, there's, you know,
it gets around.
Yeah, there's you know, and some of those have been big festivals, you know, like, you know, I've done the main stage at Reading and done a few festivals like that where you've actually played to numerous thousand people. And there's Otway fans, do you know what I mean? And
no, sure.
Well, they are a very, very loyal bunch. So I'm presumed that you go on stage often and see the same people in the audience every night.
A lot of the time, yeah. And I mean, I've always thought the level of stardom I've got, I call it micro-stardom because it is stardom, but it's not very big. But it's at that level whereby you stand at the bar at the beginning, you know, as people are coming in and you chat to them, and you can do that. And the audiences are small enough so that, you know, anybody that wants to chat to you can. So
you've got to bond with them before you get on stage, haven't you? Because you've kind of taken the temperature of the room, presumably, by being in it.
Yes, I think so.
You're not backstage stuck away, and it's like
I did a tour with Graham Fellows, Guilty John, and he had a conversation. He said, "No, you never talk to the audience before you go on stage. You never do that." You know, it was like all of it. I said, "Oh, I do. I just sort of stand at the bar and drink with them, and when it's time."
Well, he's an actor, isn't he? That's the difference. Actors wouldn't do it. You know, that's.
Yes, I know.
You break in the fourth wall and all that. It's really interesting.
It is. But it also makes people feel connected. Graham Fellows is very similar, actually, because you look at Graham Fellows and look at you. I've seen you several times. You kind of think it's almost as though any member of the audience could be on stage. It's not a performer who's operating from above you, is it?
No, absolutely. And, you know, with my level of talent, most people watch me and go, well, I could do that.
So, well, I hesitate to say, are you on tour? Because you're always on tour, aren't you?
Yeah. Yes, apart from the last 3 months.
Right. So,
yeah. I mean, yes, it's. It's not really a tour. It's jobbing, gigging.
Right.
But I was looking at the tour dates, and there's such interesting places. There are clubs and the pubs, and there's art centres, there's churches, there's sports centres, there's the Hairy Dog in Derby, and then there's places like the Old Cinema Launderette in Durham. So these, do you feel particularly drawn to really interesting and unusual places?
No, I think really unusual places attracted to me.
Right. Oh, so the Old Cinema is the one who's ringing you up and saying, come and play.
Yeah, that's a lovely little gig. I mean, it is a laundrette. It is a laundrette during the day, and the guy that owns it puts little gigs on in the evening. I mean, it's a wonderful use of a space, really, and it's quite good fun. You're sort of like the stage is in front of the dryers.
That's fantastic.
It is incredible.
See, do you have an agent, or do you do it all yourself? You book it yourself?
Well, sadly, Eric Hans basically did all my booking for the last 20 years, and sadly passed away at the beginning of this year, which is and that's a good mate. So that's a bit sad. But before he was doing it, I was booking myself, and at the moment I'm booking my shows, and Willie's wife's looking after the Otway Barrett shows.
Right. So, and you're still playing with Willie Barrett sometimes, which is fantastic. So what's that? Why does that work so well? It's still going after how many years? Nearly 50. Yeah,
well, last year we did half a century of Otway and Barrett. Yeah, 50 years. I mean, Willie is just a wonderfully delightful player, and I mean, his musician. He's just a lovely player. I was told when I started working with him, as you go through your career, you meet loads of musicians like that, and I never have done. I mean, he's unique. I mean, he's a multi-instrumentalist. I mean, so like the banjo, fiddle, slide guitar, almost anything with strings on, and strange instruments as well. He's got a bagpuss. Which is the droning bit of the bagpipes, right? In a bagpuss.
Yes.
But for the chanter, he's got like a two-stringed guitar that goes through a fuzz pedal, and it sounds horrible, but it looks great.
So you booked this yourself. So I want to know, what kind of infrastructure do you have, or do you just have a diary? I'm playing Derby on Wednesday. I get on the train. Do you organise all your own travel and accommodation and all that kind of thing yourself?
Yes. I mean, it's as I sort of say about Micro-stardom and that level of gigging. It's turn up at 5 o'clock.
Yes.
Do the gig. I've got when I'm doing the solo shows, I've got a roadie that is part of the show who takes the gear and sets it up, and meet there at 5, do the gig. I used to try and get home when I could, when I had when my life was alive, and we and my daughter was growing up. I used to try and get back, but now it doesn't matter, so I tend to get a hotel.
Right.
So yes.
Do you sell merch and things like that?
Oh yes.
Yeah. Okay. So that's
what's your biggest selling item of merch?
Some of the recent T-shirts have been good. The John Otway, I can't believe it's not better.
It's like being in the greetings card business. It's a question of a really good gag.
It's the best and the good ones. We've had things like John Otway, it's nearly rock and roll, but I like it.
And so you just have ideas like that, and you think, okay, I'm going to run up, 20 T-shirts or whatever, and see how it goes.
And as they take off, you print more.
Well, we've got these. I don't know if you can see them. I'm
a John Otway fan. Yes.
I'm a John Otway fan.
That's fantastic. Chances are you're probably making more money than groups with big touring entourages and hotel bills to play. It's likely that the old cinema laundrette is doing you putting you in profit here.
Yes, I mean, I think what's quite interesting for a lot of acts, over the over the past sort of decade or so, everything's changed because you went out to promote your record, and your main earnings came from basically record sales and that sort of thing. But my records have never sold very well.
Right.
Well, you have had 2 hits. You were on Top of the Pops twice. Yes.
Oh, yeah. But that hasn't been the main thing of the income. The main thing of the income has been just going out, jobbing, gigging, and and the merchandising and things like that. And for me, it hasn't really, in terms of how you make a living, it hasn't really changed very much.
Right. So where's your next gig?
Aylesbury, my hometown, actually. Yeah. And funny enough, that's in my old school where, my old primary school is an art centre, and it's a much nicer art centre than it was as a school.
Right.
God, that must be strange, playing in the place you went to school when you were 6 or whatever.
Yes, it is. But I have done it a few times, and it's quite nice. I can remember sort of sitting in what is now the bar and thinking, it's a much nicer place now.
Yeah. No double geography.
So do tourists think that you're a kind of Aylesbury site that they have to tick off, that because it's so associated with the place?
I don't know. I think some Otway fans definitely turn up to sort of look at the place.
Right.
There's the place I was born was pulled down and to make way for dual carriageway. I dug out the place where I was born, and it's actually a bus lane. So I'm trying to work on my fans getting a little plaque there. John Otway was born in a bus lane.
Are you doing festivals this year?
I've got a couple. It's one of the things that I miss my agent for, because most of the gigs I do are, you've done them over the years, and people know how to contact you, so the diary fills up like that. But the festivals tend to be the only ones you sort of need to ring up rather than they.
Yeah, right. Okay.
And I haven't really rang around them that much.
So do you adjust the set when you're playing festivals? Because you're dealing with people who may not necessarily know who you are, whereas most of the time it's quite a small audience of very, very converted, very loyal people.
I think what I do, because you, as you were pointing out, it's sort of like tiny little pubs to much bigger things, sometimes seated audience, sometimes standing audiences, sometimes it's a festival. You have to do that, rework it sort of in a way every night. Do you know what I mean, in terms of pace and things? And I noticed when I did the Mad, Bad and Dangerous tour with Wilco Johnson and the Hamsters, and they were playing the same sort of sized venue every night. And I didn't like it after a while because it meant the show got routine. You were working on getting it routine, but because you were playing the same sized audience every night, you knew sort of how it was going to go. You didn't concentrate on what you were doing. Whereas, if it's a small seated audience one night and a standing audience, you have to concentrate.
You have to wait. No, I'm sure it takes a lot of energy, presumably, doesn't?
Yeah, but it makes you concentrate on what you're doing without sort of your brain going off somewhere else while you just
No.
Your muscle memory of the hands plays the chords, and the muscle memory of your throat does the words.
You must have had shows where it just didn't work at all, where you came off thinking, oh dear God, that was terrible. Or are you just sufficiently buoyant that you get over it?
No, when I first started, there was lots of shows like that. I was known as somebody that could clear a hall. But I remember one of the things is, though, it hurts so much when you go down that badly. And I when I started, it used to happen quite regularly, and I remember that hurt so well. I mean, it's ingrained in you that you really, really don't want that to happen. And it very, very rarely does. I think less.
So, did you used to analyse what you thought had gone wrong and see if you could avoid that next time?
Yes, because when you first start, you're only getting a gig a month. Do you know what I mean? And it takes you ages to,
recover,
to find out a gig, and then you do, and it bombs badly, and then you suffer for a whole month.
I bet, and you wake up in the middle of the night thinking about it. Do you? Is that?
Oh, you have nightmares. I have nightmares. I still have nightmares about being on stage and.
Was there a single worst moment that still haunts you?
He probably doesn't want to talk about it if there was one.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's things I can remember quite vividly. I can remember taking a girl to this gig, and then I came off stage and just couldn't talk to her afterwards. I just sort of sat there in sheer misery.
She thought, this is a hot date. What are you doing next Tuesday?
I don't think there was any more dates with her.
Is there a moment in the set you can often feel that there's a kind of pivot? Is there a device you use? I remember seeing you do your fantastic audience-involved version of House of the Rising Sun. I mean, are there particular moments that you feel make things take off?
One thing I discovered quite early on was basically the first 20 seconds. If you've got the audience within the first 20 seconds, your life's going to be quite easy. If you don't get them in that very first bit, you've got a battle on your hands. And
yes.
And you've got to work.
Yeah. And how do you get an audience in 20 seconds?
How do you know?
Yeah.
What do you do in the first 20 seconds? That's high-priced information.
I don't know. I mean, it is something about body language and the way people and people's first impression of you.
It's just like walking in a room, isn't it? They've decided whether they like you or not.
Yeah. But it's strange. I don't know what it is or why I can make people laugh and other people can't, even though they're maybe delivering the same material, or that all you do is you try and repeat. You try and work out how to repeat what you've done. But
presumably they don't find you threatening.
No, I don't think so. No.
But it's an interesting point, isn't it? Because do you ever deal with hecklers? Do you have any of that kind of stuff?
A bit, but if they're annoying, I just tend to ignore them rather.
Right. Okay. You don't try and go after them or anything like that.
No, I'm not that quick-witted, really. I know people are. Willie's pretty good at it. I'm one of the ones that wakes up the next morning and says,
what I should have said.
That would have been really brilliant.
Yeah. But it's a high-risk strategy, isn't it, going after a heckler? Because it could get worse. They could have prepared lines.
Yeah.
They may be heckling you because they're spoiling for a fight.
Yeah. Exactly.
No, it's very interesting, that first 20 seconds. Very, very interesting.
How do what you're looking for, presumably in the first 20 seconds, is a laugh. That's the only way you can tell, I guess, that you've got people involved.
I think the word looking for is hoping for.
Hoping for.
It's probably more accurate.
Yeah.
But there is something about, I think that, and that gets a lot better. The more you do it, there is something about having just confidence and being completely at ease with yourself when you walk on. And I think that, I don't know if this makes sense, but I think that reassures the audience if you're just completely at ease with yourself and you walk up to the microphone and just say something. And Attila, the stockbroker I worked with, taught me one big lesson, and that was don't think before opening your mouth.
Oh right, that's good.
If you think about what you're going to say, it never comes out as smoothly as if you don't think. If you just if you just have an idea of what the sort of thing you're going to talk about, and you miss out the brain process that thinks about it. Mm-hmm. It's often funnier, and the timing's a lot better.
Do you ever think? I mean, you're doing these gigs for yourself, aren't you? Really, you just love it, don't you? You just love being on stage.
Yeah, but it is more of a joint thing, which is why you've got the fans. And I've always thought that the entertainment doesn't basically go on while you're on stage. You encourage the fans, and then you get them involved in all sorts of things, like campaigns to have another hit or to fill the Albert Hall. And when we did the last album in Montserrat, 50 fans flew out and and sang on one of the tracks.
Right.
And we're taking a coach load round Ireland later on this year. Whereby a coach load of fans just join the band in the coach, and we go around and do Dublin, Ireland, and Galway.
So it's social work on one level.
Yes, that's right.
But also you're guaranteed of an ecstatic reception if you take your audience with you.
Oh, yes.
Because you were going to do that wonderful thing with the Airbus 340, weren't you, when you were going to fly around the world taking 300 people to the Sydney Opera House? I think it became too expensive at the end, but it was a genius.
Yeah. But basically, I realised I couldn't afford my own jet. We're going to charter a jet, and we got close here, only about 30 or 40 people short of making the whole thing work. However, one of my thoughts is, I don't really want to, finish my life with regrets, and one of the regrets is that I didn't take the band around the world, and so next year it's costing me a fortune. But I'm flying my band around the world to do a circumnavigational tour, and hopefully a few fans will fly around with us. So at least we will have done a world tour.
Wow. So what are you doing, like Australia and
Vancouver, New Zealand, Australia, and Japan, and
right,
going around. It's sort of like you get to an age and you go, well, if I don't do it now, I'm never going to do it. And so just raiding my bank account and go, I'll just do it.
Brilliant. That's brilliant.
That's a wonderful thing.
Well, we look forward to that.
Are you coming?
Yeah.
Why not? It's the never-ending tour.
You should do it.
You're aiming in about 8 years' time to reach the 6,000 mark. I mean, who has played more than you apart from BB King? I mean, has there?
I can only think of one band, but they're a bit of a cheap trick.
Oh, is it them? Wow,
they've
done over 5,000, and we did. I did my 5,000th gig at Shepherd's Bush Empire, and interestingly, just before I was doing it, they were doing a gig there.
Right, it's a very select group, presumably.
Yes, well, there really is. I mean, there's obviously acts that have done more than 5,000 gigs, because you get people that do Vegas. You know what I mean? And they're doing
but not acts you would have heard of. They'll just be local cabaret acts or whatever. I mean, Bob Dylan's only played 4,500.
Yeah,
See Me could do better. Yeah. Stones, I think, is only about 2,200.
Pull yourself together, says John Otway.
Yeah.
Show a bit of resolve.
Yeah, go and play that. Go and play that laundrette.
Yes. There's always a laundrette somewhere. There's a waiting for you. Well, John, thank you very much for talking to us.
No, it's brilliant.
And long may it continue. Long may your mad schemes be forthcoming, and
yes, absolutely. And think about it. Next year, next April, you could do your podcast from Canada, New Zealand, Australia, and Japan.
We could, ideally in a laundrette.
Yes,
that's brilliant. So nice to talk to you, John.